let's talk about something I think we've all felt. That incredibly frustrating feeling of being busy, constantly running around, but not actually getting anywhere meaningful. You know the drill, right? You have a week where you work hard. You are genuinely putting in the hours. And somehow you end up feeling even further behind than when you started. You were busy every single minute, but when you get to the end of the week, you can't really point to anything significant that you accomplished. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, well, you're in the right place. And I want to get one thing straight right from the beginning. The problem isn't that you're lazy or that you lack discipline, not at all. The problem is the approach, the one that most of us were taught, which basically boils down to just try harder. And I'm here to tell you, that approach was doomed from the start. So here's our game plan. We're going to break down exactly why that old way of thinking fails, and more importantly, what to do instead. We'll start by digging into something called the willpower trap. Then we'll have a bit of a systems revelation. After that, we get really practical. We'll talk about how to build your second brain, engineer your habits, design your default day, and finally, how to actually sustain the system so it sticks around for good. Okay, first up, the willpower trap. This idea is so important because it gets to the root of a misunderstanding that sets so many of us up for failure before we even start our day. The science behind all this has a name. It's called decision fatigue. See, every single decision you make, no matter how tiny, what to wear, what to have for breakfast, which email to answer first, it all chips away at your mental energy. So by the time the afternoon rolls around, you're trying to make really important choices with a completely drained battery. And this completely reframes the entire problem. The myth we're sold is that willpower is a character trait. You either have it or you don't. But the reality? Willpower is a finite resource. It's just like the battery on your phone. It depletes with use. So the solution isn't to just be more disciplined. That's like yelling at your phone to work harder when it's at 10% battery. The real solution is to use it less. This quote really gets to the heart of it. The most successful, productive people out there haven't won some kind of genetic lottery for discipline. Not at all. They've just designed their lives and their environments so that good behavior is the easiest, most default option. They don't need to rely on willpower. So the question becomes, how do we do that? And that brings us to our second big idea, the systems revelation. This is the powerful, reliable alternative to depending on our willpower, which, as we've seen, is totally unreliable. This quote is an absolute game changer. Just think about it for a second. We all have goals, right? Big, ambitious goals. But when life gets crazy, when you're tired and stressed, you don't magically rise up to meet those goals. Nope. You fall back to the level of your default behaviors, your systems. And if your systems are chaos, well, that's where you'll land, no matter how big your dreams are. Now, I know the word systems can sound kind of corporate or rigid, but it's actually incredibly simple. A system is just a predefined process that runs on autopilot. You have an input, a process happens, and you get an output. The magic is that it's automatic. You don't stand in the bathroom every night debating whether or not to brush your teeth. You just do it. That's a system. Our goal is to make more of our important actions work just like that. So let's get crystal clear on the difference here. A goal is your destination. Say, run a marathon. A system is the process, my training schedule, where I run 3 times a week. See, goals rely on motivation, and we all know motivation is fickle. It comes and it goes. Systems, on the other hand, they work even when you're tired, distracted, or just plain not feeling it. Okay, so this leads us right into the first practical pillar of building your personal operating system. It's called Build Your Second Brain. And this is all about freeing up your precious mental energy by getting things out of your head. Here's the best analogy I've ever heard for this. Your brain is like the RAM in a computer. It is absolutely brilliant for active processing, for being creative, for solving tough problems. But using it as a hard drive? Oh, it's terrible at that. Trying to use your brain for storage is what creates that constant low-level anxiety that you're forgetting something important, because you probably are. So how do you actually build this second brain? The rules are surprisingly simple. First, you capture everything, every task, idea, reminder, in a single trusted place outside your head. It could be a notes app, a task manager, even a simple notebook. The tool doesn't matter. What matters is the rule. If it's not in the system, it doesn't exist. This lets your brain off the hook so it can do its real job, having ideas. And please, remember this. The simplest tool that you'll actually use is always, always better than some super sophisticated system you'll abandon in 3 days. All right, once you've cleared out all that mental clutter, the very next step is to engineer your habits. This is how we actually install the software for the behaviors we want, so they just run on their own, no motivation required. One of the most powerful ways to do this is called habit stacking. The idea is you don't build a new habit from scratch, that's too hard. Instead, you just bolt it onto a habit you already have. The formula is simple. After I current habit, I will new habit. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will write one sentence in my journal. The coffee is the trigger you already do without thinking. The journaling just gets to come along for the ride.
The next big idea is what I like to call friction engineering. Look, every single behavior has some amount of effort or friction tied to it. Your job is to become an architect of your environment. You want to decrease the friction for your good habits and increase the friction for your bad ones. Want to work out in the morning? Lay out your clothes the night before. That's less friction. Want to stop scrolling on your phone so much? Delete the apps. That's more friction. You're just making it easier to do the right thing.
And finally, there's the 2-minute rule. This one is so simple, it feels like cheating. When you're starting a new habit, your goal isn't to be perfect, it's just to show up. So you scale the habit down into something that takes 2 minutes or less. Read a book every day becomes read one page. Go for a run becomes put on your running shoes. You're making it so easy to start that it's almost impossible to say no. Okay, so we have our external brain to hold our thoughts, and we have our automatic habits. Now it's time to put it all together and design our default day. The goal here is simple. Make a few high-quality decisions once at the beginning of the day, so you don't have to make hundreds of tiny, draining decisions all day long. You know, most people just wake up and start improvising, reacting to whatever fire is burning brightest. The alternative is to have a script, a morning startup routine that gets you going automatically, a protected block of time for your most important deep work, then a separate later block for shallow work, like emails, when your energy is naturally lower. And this is so important, an evening shutdown ritual that officially ends the workday so your brain can actually switch off and recover. And to guide what you actually do during that day, you can use the 3 MITs rule. Every morning, you identify just 3, not 17, 3 most important tasks. These are the things that if you get them done, the day is a win, no matter what else happens. This gives you incredible clarity and focus, and it's the perfect antidote to that busy but not productive feeling. But listen, even the most perfect system will eventually fall apart if you don't maintain it. And that brings us to the final critical piece that most productivity advice completely ignores. How do you sustain your system and make it last for the long haul? The absolute cornerstone of maintenance is the weekly review. This is a non-negotiable 1-hour appointment with yourself every single week. During this time, you clear out all your inboxes, you look ahead at your calendar, and this is the most important part, you ask yourself 3 simple questions. What works this week? What didn't work? And what needs to change? This is the feedback loop that keeps your entire system alive and working for you. Look, you're human. You are going to have bad days. The key is to adopt the slip, don't skip mindset. Missing one workout, that's a slip. It happens. The goal is to get right back on track the next day. But missing 2 in a row, that's a skip. And that's how habits die. So the rule is simple. Never miss twice. A bad day doesn't have to turn into a bad week. And for those inevitable bad days, you need an emergency plan. That's your minimum viable day. Ask yourself, what is the absolute bare minimum version of my routine I can do to keep the momentum going when I feel sick or overwhelmed or just completely exhausted? Maybe it's just completing one small task and walking for 10 minutes. Define this ahead of time so when a bad day hits, you don't have to think. You just execute the plan. Okay, look, information without action is just entertainment. So I want you to make this real. Here are 3 things you can do tonight. Step 1, choose one capture tool, any tool, and just set it up. Step 2, define your minimum viable day. Actually write it down somewhere. And step 3, open your calendar right now and schedule your very first weekly review. Seriously, do it now. Don't put it off. And I'll just leave you with this one final question to think about. Because this choice isn't just about what you do tonight. It's about your future self. A year from now, you could be in the exact same spot, feeling frustrated and looking for the next productivity hack. Or you could look back and be so incredibly grateful that today was the day you finally decided to stop trying harder and start building a system that actually works.
Like, comment, and share this video. Subscribe my channel now. Thank you for watching.